Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Originally, we were prompted to share some thoughts from the book Swami Ramdas on himself. Then the prompting got shifted to a book, a small pamphlet which we received in Mysore last year, where Swami Rama shared some thoughts about the mantra. Papa keeps on harping. Huh? Hari Om, hope you are all hearing. These are some portions from the teachings of Swami Rama. You all remember, Papa keeps on emphasizing that name is God. So what sort of relationship we maintain with the Nama, that is most important. If we take it as any other sentence or a word, initially it will be so. It may not serve us much. But we must have an emotional bonding with the name. That is what is absolutely necessary. By going through the biographical sketches of masters who have been able to scale the heights with the help of mantra, with that, we may be able to draw a lot of inspiration from them. And that is why we slowly develop an emotional bonding with the mantra. There have been umpteen number of cases where we find only with the mantra they were able to scale the heights. And as we shared a couple of days back, and God blessed Papa with such a fiery aspiration to realize him. He made him to chant 22 hours out of 24 hours. Between 1920 and 22, the formative stage. Just imagine. We were unable to understand because we cannot do it now. We can only read from a book. None of us will be able to do that. But in his case, he was able to do it. Then slowly we understand that during the time of chanting, he was trying to go within, and to feel his presence inside. With the result, the tendency of the mind to go outside became less and less and less. So according to him, the mantra chanting was serving him like a fence where the mind or the thought does not go anywhere else. Since it has no chance to go out, it has to go within only. So more and more manana was taking place. That is why he advocated that constant chanting will ultimately help us to reach. The same theme has been brought out in a wonderful way by Swami Rama. So we will read a few lines from that. Mantra means manana trayate iti mantra. Mantra is that which liberates one from the whirlpool of samsara or worldly life. Among all the diseases of the world, there is one most serious disease. We have tried our best to eliminate the disease, but it is still there and is increasing all the time, and all human beings have to face it. And that disease is called loneliness. We are all lonely. So when we get lonely, we try to enter into a partnership called marriage. Loneliness does not go away. Then we try to have children. Loneliness does not go away. Then we try to have pets. Even that does not give you the freedom from loneliness. Loneliness still remains. Especially, people who are retired, they can easily understand these words. Because when we are active and vibrant, probably we don't have time even to think about it. There is only one thing that will give you freedom from loneliness, and that is your own constant friend within, called your mantra. But have you established friendship with your mantra? I have. Swami Rama says. Do you have any other friend in the world who is dearer to you than the friend within you? If it is given second position, it won't work. First is somebody, then the mantra. No. When your mantra, the friend within you, becomes your best friend, then it functions. It will help you always and everywhere. When you are disappointed with external relationships, with the external world, with your ideas, thoughts, desires, and then your mantra gives you solace from within, and it becomes your guide. So when you remember your mantra to such an extent that it becomes your best friend, then your mantra starts talking to you, guiding you. Normally, at the moment you hear the word mantra, the concept we develop is either letters or produced through a sound. When we read letters, mantra, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Or when we hear this also. Suppose we take to the origin. When you write Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram in English, it has come from the letters. Letters have come from where? We go to the origin of everything. Then it connects up with the originator. Sound. Where from the sound comes? Shabda Brahma. So when Papa says name is God, it was difficult for us to understand, because to us name is a name. We have got a concept about God, whether it is right or wrong. So we are unable to connect this name with God. Here, Swami says, so when you remember your mantra to such an extent that it becomes your best friend, then your mantra starts talking to you, guiding you. Now you are a friend to somebody who is very weak, your body. Your greatest friend is your body. But the body is very weak, shows its symptoms of decay. You feel sad because your friend is decaying. But the moment you come to know that mantra is your real friend, you will not be troubled by the decay of the body. Mantra means that which leads you, that which gives you freedom from the agonies and pains of your mind, because it is your mind that stands between you and the reality. It is the mind that creates a barrier for you. Mind is nothing but full of thoughts. Once you understand the barrier, then you try to go beyond that barrier, and only mantra can help you. So when we start chanting mantra, it's total faith and devotion. Papa used to clearly mention, we have been asked to remember, we are chanting the name of one who is seated within us, who is making us to chant. So once you understand the barrier, then you try to go beyond the barrier and only mantra can help you. It is the easiest way to cross the barrier of the mind. Mantra is constantly creating impressions in your heart and mind. When does it help? It helps when no one else can help you. I am talking of compact prayer. It could be one syllable, a word, many words, a long string of words. It depends. Make it a point that whatever you do, wherever you go, you will be remembering your mantra even in the bathroom. You don't have to postpone your duties for this. Go on remembering it all the time, even in the midst of your duties. You are storing many images, a huge pile of images in your mind. There are many grooves in your mind. The many memories in your life have created many grooves in your mind, and your mind is in the habit of flowing, which you have created. But if you want your mind to flow in new grooves that you want to create, you find yourself helpless. But when you remember your mantra, you are creating an image in your mind. Many a times, students think nothing happens when they are remembering their mantra. Nothing happens when they pray. Your mantra is a compact prayer. Instead of saying, "Oh Lord, give me this, give me that," one uses the word Namaha. Commonly used to complete most mantras. Namaha means not mine. Namaha. Nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to Thee. Everything belongs to Thee, that is the meaning. When you use the word Namaha with the feeling, it becomes part of your life and your behavior changes according to that feeling, according to that thought. So mantra is not only a mere word that creates a form, but is a great thought which has a deep impact on your life. It's a great feeling which leaves a deep impression in your life. It's a great feeling. So we are asking ourselves, do we get the feeling when we chant? That means the emotional bonding should be there. Otherwise, the lip level, surface level, chanting will not have any feeling, I used to say you should love God, and then only you will find the name sweetness. Sweetness of the, you will be able to experience the sweetness of the name. Feeling. I have been remembering my mantra and nothing is happening to me, I don't see anything. This is a common complaint. This complaint is voiced by those who do not understand the science of the mantra. Is it ever possible to do some action and not reap the fruits of your action? It's not. When you are performing an action, you are bound to reap the fruits of your action. When you are remembering your mantra and nothing is happening to you, what does it mean? It means that your mantra is being stored in the unconscious mind. And when the time comes, when there is a need, the mantra helps you. One of the simplest methods is to remember the Lord's name, not the Lord, but His name. How could you give a name to someone who is nameless? A child who does not know how to speak, what does she say? Mama, mama, mama. For her, that word is true for her mother. We do not know anything about the Almighty Lord. Any word we use for Him is His name. But let us feel His presence by remembering that name within us. A chapel or a shrine is where you remember the Lord. When you constantly remember the Lord's name, then you become a shrine. Because the Lord lives in you. Then you say that if the human being is a shrine, how can the human being die? Human being does not really die. If my garment is worn and torn, I am not dead. A book cover is torn, the book is not dead. If pillow cover is torn, pillow is not dead. Only a part changes, essential part. Turiya never changes. Turiya state is the fourth state, the witness consciousness. Yatsvapna jagrata sushuptim avedi nityam tad brahmam. Nishkalam aham nachabuta sangahanam. God does not require you to remember His name. God never says you should remember my name. This is a human necessity. This is a support, this is a way, and that way will finally lead you to the royal house, which is called the house of the Lord within you. Beautiful. You cannot be lost. You are lost in the external journey where you have to move. This is a journey without movement where you can never get lost. Inward journey. You don't move, yet you are going ahead. The only journey of its type. Once again, we will read the question. God does not require you to remember His name. God never says you should remember my name. This is a human necessity. This is a support. This is a way. And that way will finally lead you to the royal house, which is called the house of the Lord within you. Now we understand Papa's words, how Nama chanting helps you to go dive deep within and to feel His presence. This is a support, this is a way, and that way will finally lead you to the royal house, which is called the house of the Lord within you. You cannot be lost. One of the great sages, Guru Nanak, said something, and all the Bibles of the world say the same thing. The whole world is plunged in sorrow, drowned in the sea of sorrow. Who is happy? Happy is he who is totally dependent, relying on the name of the Lord. Not on the Lord. He never said Lord, because no one knows what the Lord is. Your mantra is name of the Lord. Sooner or later your mantra will lead you to the Lord. You are happy because you are remembering your mantra. So that is why Nanak Dev said, happy is he who remembers the Lord's name at all times without any conditions. Don't put conditions on the Lord. I am remembering my mantra all the time, but I am not getting my many dollars. Well, dollars are there in the bank. Why do you not go to the bank? Why do you not earn? What you are doing is that you are using something great for something very gross, very petty. That is the mistake you are committing. Whenever there is something you can't handle, immediately you say, Lord, help me. It is good, but you cannot escape from punishment from your bad deeds. If during that time mantra tells you, sorry, you have done something wrong, I cannot help you, you say, you are not my friend. You lose faith. That is not good. So mantra, remember, to satisfy your egoistic whims is not very helpful. Never apply your mantra, your friend, for anything bad. Keep your mantra in reserve for that day when no one else can help you, where no friend of the world can reach. Why are you giving that friend a simple worldly thing which you can do with your own hands? which you can do with your own feet, which you can do using your own resources. Why are you doing this? The best part of yourself is your mantra. Never misuse your mantra. Do not give your worldly duties to your mantra. Many times you test your mantra. My friend has fever, let me remember my mantra to see if it heals or not. This is not good. You are misusing the mantra. Let your mantra become a guide. Let your mantra become an observer. Do not involve your mantra in such petty things. Now the question comes, if your mantra is a sound, is there a meaning to the sound? A sound is known by its vibrations. A harsh sound will give you bad vibrations, which you cannot bear. Sometimes children scratch the surface to produce a harsh screeching sound, and parents want to run away from that. Some sounds are very soothing. You like to hear such sounds. Some of the words of the music you can never forget. They haunt you the whole day. Keep ringing in your mind. The best way to remember your mantra is by closing your lips, sealing your teeth. What should be the position of your tongue? Tongue always has the habit of wanting to translate your thoughts to give them form. So let the tongue be curled up, touching the roof of the mouth. You will find your japa has improved. It has become easy. Try it. But as long as you are making sounds with your mantra, you are simply counting. Papa used to keep on telling about the efficacy of mental chanting. Remember? From stage to stage, he wants us to upgrade. From vocal chanting to silent chanting to mental chanting. In the mental chanting, the lips will not move, tongue will not move, but chanting will be going on. Absolute concentration is necessary for that. Nowadays, they have introduced in the yoga an item called Brahmari, where we close our ears, we close our eyes, we close our mouth, and then produce the sound. At that time, the tongue should touch the roof of the mouth. Then the sound comes. And you are watching the sound. Not that you have to watch, you will be watching the sound. Slowly the presence of the reality is felt, experienced, is realized, though for a short time. According to some friend, this will also help the system to produce something that will make the mind calm, serene, keep the body healthy. It's called Brahmari. Like that. Because all these things are shut. Eyes are shut, mouth is shut, excepting the breathing. So he says, so let the tongue be curled towards touching the roof of the mouth. You will find your japa has improved. It has become easy. Try it. As long as you are making sounds with your mantra, you are simply counting. Instead of rushing to the external world with the help of senses, let your mind go within. Now we will read Papa's words about how he was motivated to train the mind to go within. When Ramdas returned to Mangalore after wandering in India for a year, as narrated in the book In Quest of God, he stayed in a cave. One night he sat in meditation. Till then he never knew what meditation was. He was simply chanting God's name. It's a very important ocean. All his fears had gone and he felt no attraction or repulsion for the things of the world. In fact, the world did not exist consciously for him. When he sat in meditation, within a very short time he was immersed in the ocean of bliss and was lost. For 3 hours or so, he sat like a statue, absorbed in the divine, one with the supreme consciousness. Ramdas will try to explain what that state was like, but it will be extremely difficult to make you clearly understand. If you yourself enter that state, you will know what it is like. Ramdas felt that he was merged in a sea of bliss. That does not mean he lost outer consciousness. It was not a state of sleep. He was alert and aware of all things outside very dimly. The mind was in the grip of a strange bliss from which it refused to come out. For about 3 hours he sat and he felt he should come back to the body idea. With great difficulty, after some time, he was able to do so, and apparently he lost that state. But that state continued to be with him from that time onwards, without any interruption, and still continues to be with him. That state has now become the background of his life. He feels one with God to such an extent that he does not feel separate from God. He is in Sagata Samadhi now. It was from that time that Ramdas could not say I. He strangely started referring to himself as Ramdas. After that, Ramdas began to see the world before him as the manifestation of the Divine Spirit. Ramdas tried to say I again, but it did not come. Somehow he dropped it, could not pick it up. Because it is beyond the purview of thought, it can't be explained. So he takes us to the door and says, enter. We have been chanting for decades together. But this is the aspect. The chanting has enabled Papa not to go out through the senses or thoughts. Constant chanting was there to ensure that it doesn't go out. And naturally, it has to go within. And that state he tried to explain. In one of his articles, he mentioned this. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind still, free from all thoughts. It is in that state that one feels the presence of God. So this Nama should lead us to that state. He sat in meditation. Within a very short time, he was immersed in the ocean of bliss and was lost. Lost means thought is not there. Sense of individuality. The sense of individuality is authenticated by the presence of thought. Is it not? Think about it. When you are in deep sleep, no present worry is there, no relationship, no belongings, no possessions, no commitments, no concepts, no attraction, no repulsion. That is why we all crave for deep sleep. For 3 hours or so, he sat like a statue, absorbed in the divine, one with the supreme consciousness. S and C capital. Ramdas will try to explain what that state was like, but it will be extremely difficult to make you clearly understand. If you yourself enter that state, you will know what it is like. Ramdas felt that he was merged in a sea of bliss. That does not mean he lost utter consciousness. It was not a state of sleep. He was alert, aware of all things outside very dimly. The mind was in the grip of a strange bliss from which it refused to come out. For about 3 hours he sat and he felt he should come back to the body idea. With great difficulty, after some time, he was able to do so, and apparently he lost that state, apparently. But that state continued to be with him, and still continues to be with him. From that time onwards, without any interruption. That state has now become the background of his life. He feels one with God to such an extent that he does not feel separate from God. Ramdas is a child and he looks upon God as a master and mother. As master, he guides him. As mother, he protects him. In that way, the I has no place in Ramdas' life. And it disappeared by itself. Ramdas did not make any attempt to do so. No. You are trying to hear his sound through that form also, no? As master, he guides him, and as mother, he protects him. In that way, the I has no place in Ramdas' life, and it disappeared by itself. Ramdas did not make any attempt to do so. But God somehow wished that Ramdas should be free from the sense of I. Ramdas was constantly remembering God for 2 years, and that remembrance was perhaps the cause for the dissolution of the ego sense. When your mind is filled with the thought of God always, the all-pervading immortal truth, the egos and the individual sense will necessarily disappear. Ramdas has not done anything else except these two things, prayer and repetition of God's name. Whatever else he did in the way of discipline such as fasting, living in solitude, quoting the society of saints, etc., was done with the sole object of keeping up a continuous remembrance of God in his mind. Whenever God remembrance left him, he used to feel utterly miserable. When the remembrance was there, he was perfectly happy. Ramdas has not done anything else except these two things, prayer and repetition of God's name. Whatever else he did in the way of discipline, such as fasting, living in solitude, quoting the society of saints, etc., was done with the sole object of keeping up a continuous remembrance of God in his mind. Whenever God remembrance left him, he used to feel utterly miserable. So again, before we close, today Prabhupada spoke to us through Lord Swami Rama that we should develop an emotional bonding with the name. He is our reliable friend. So when you remember your mantra to such an extent that it becomes your best friend, then your mantra starts talking to you, guiding you. The moment you come to know that that mantra is your real friend, you will not be troubled by anything else. Mantra means that which leads you, that which gives you freedom from the agonies and pains of your mind. Make it a point that whatever you do, wherever you go, you will be remembering your mantra even in the bathroom. You don't have to postpone your duties for this. Go on remembering it all the time, even in the midst of your duties. And later on he will build up, Swami will build up and says, how it helps you to go within. How it helps us to recognize the shrine of God within. The Nama slowly opens the door and as it were, And we have been promised that we will have a glimpse of His presence. So that is why they have made us a shrine. So the take-home message, you can take it as the mantra we should have an emotional bonding. The feeling should be there when we chant. Very important. Otherwise it becomes mechanical. It doesn't need. We know that from our experience. And mental chanting is prescribed. From the vocal, we should graduate to the mental chanting. Because that is the one which helps us to go inward and to realize. So let us all try our level best. Not that vocal chanting is bad. Papa also maintained that though mental chanting is the most efficacious methodology, the joy you get at the time of vocal chanting also helps no doubt. But we should know that the ultimate aim is to go within. And after that, whether we do it, whether we concentrate on the vocal chanting or mental chanting, it doesn't matter at all. Because we have established a bonding with the name, with the Lord. I think we have to do a lot of manana so that we will be able to understand when Papa said name is God. Swami Rama says, how can you give a name to a nameless one? The name is God. We have to go through it again and again and again. Tomorrow we will try. What Papa says in an article called Name is God. We will try to understand it so that all those things become clearer and clearer to us, and it will help us while we take to chanting. Morning we are also trying for 15 minutes. Somebody will chant vocally and then stop. Others will go along with it mentally, and then the mental chanting also will be tried. So 3 types of chanting takes place at that time. The vocal chanting is there, and when the chanting is going on, you travel along with it. That means hearing. No sound is coming from you. And later on, without the sound, without the movement of lips, an effort is made to chant. At that time, knowingly or unknowingly, we will be able to feel that the chanting is going on. We become aware of the witness consciousness. Might be for a fraction of a second, but that is how we try to train our mind to go within. So let us, Papa is prompting us to dwell on this very important aspect. Because Nama is the one mainstay of this ashram. So how to make it as effectively as possible. That is our main concern. So let us all pray and try to make it more and more effective and finally enable us to have the glimpse of His presence who is seated within our hearts. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam, Hari Om, Namaskaram.